Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the virtual Cobalt Cafe, week number 281 of our virtual series. All here with us tonight. Tonight, my name is Rick Lupert. It's also my name on every other night. But in addition to that, and in addition to our open reading, our featured reader is Matthew Feinstein. Is it Feinstein or Feinstein, actually? I don't think now I'm just realizing I could be making a terrible mistake.
It is Feinstein, actually.
Very
Close.
good. I promise to only get that wrong maximum three more times tonight. So there we go. Matthew Feinstein is our featured reader tonight. Really glad to have you here with us, Matthew. We're going to do a chunk of our open reading first, and then we will get to Matthew, who will be our reader, and then the rest of the open reading. It's going to be a good night. If you would like to read tonight and you haven't already done so, please send me a message in the chat and I will be more than happy to add you to the list. As always, it's two poems maximum. Less is more is the suggested time limit. That's everything you need to know about that. We do, of course, have a one drink minimum here at the Cobalt Cafe. Make sure that you have a beverage with you to help honor that long-standing tradition and somehow pay for your drink to someone. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but there you go. Finally, make sure you have the chat room open so you can interact with each other. Since like a mini little king, I keep everyone muted just to maintain power over everyone. Also to prevent Zoom bombers and unnecessary interruptions and things like that. But there you go. That's everything. That's everything I have to tell you before we get going with our first reader, who will be Ike Waltz. I'd like to know if there are any questions. Martin Parker. Yes.
Yes, Rick. I don't remember if we've ever heard if you have a favorite color.
Oh, that's a great question. I like to say that I don't have a favorite color and find that different colors show up at the right times and work in different places. Um, but I am kind of partial to orange.
Mhm. Very good.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Good
Yep.
question,
Might
Martin.
find out mine later. We'll see.
Well, yeah, wow. The mystery has been laid out. Thank you, Martin. Any other questions before we get going? Christopher, yes.
Does that mean that you're an Orangeman?
That's funny you should say that. I did live for a time in Syracuse, New York,
Oh,
whose
okay.
college team is the Orange Men. Perhaps it's the Orange People now. I'm not sure. It's been a
Well,
while since I've been
but
there.
I'm referring to the Orangeman from Northern Ireland. I don't think you're one of those Orangemen.
I don't think I am either,
Ah,
but my mother never said anything either way.
okay.
All right. And I've only been to Southern Ireland on top of it, or maybe Eastern and Western, but definitely not Northern for sure. Well, no, that's not true. Actually, I have been to Northern Ireland now that I think about it. Maybe the plot thickens. All right. Well, now I have no idea what I am. All right. Thank you, Christopher. Any other questions before we get going? I see no other questions. We will get going. On deck is Michael G. Hickey. Please welcome our first reader, Ike Waltz. Hello, Ike.
Hello. A pigeon's selfie. The self-portrait of me, a frozen smile that reminds of better times. A bleak frame surrounds history of forgettable value. You see a deflection of goodwill. The nail hangs selfie's mystery of the all of us, and so me. It's a security blanket of the everyday. The hammer in my hand says, hammer me. Wherever I go, your eyes follow. I see what terminates the end of time. Scary it may be. The portrait taken in a flash, the frame selected a skeleton, what is left of me. It's the shadow inside that glossy reflection, what is catching mirrored attention, a demand without ecstasy. Now I have to find the wall where my past will hang, where I would like to hang, where they let me hang myself in absence of a communal bang on a rusty nail, on a dividing wall, all in oxymoron obscurity. But who wants what to see? My country rejected me. My state rejected me. My city rejected me. My museum of art rejected me. My neighborhood rejected me. You rejected me. I rejected me. And yes, my poem rejected me too. And there it is. And there I am. And there it happened, way up on top of a flimsy ladder, in space where place does not matter, where fog obscures at its foggiest, out of sight from all of us. Yes, it's all for the better of contextual inappropriate, is the definition of the latter. And who is the who that can explain the laugh that punished me? The hammer injects the nail, the wall bleeds profoundly. One finger took the blow, the hammer flew, the ladder lost its grip. Oh shit! Pride tumbles into the abyss. The frame now busts. I bask in tatter. My hands all broken. Yes, I seriously have to rethink the previous that I did utter, the task I had to carelessly misspoken, the ego trip of my soul. Now that you have seen my Mona Pigeon self-portrait, just forget what I was about to say. Anyway, my ego rhymes with go and play. So go, take your selfie. Fuck the rhyme. Just let the pigeon dance. The four little swans. Oh yes, it's all in a lake where they've drowned so helplessly. And let us smile. Cheese. The cheesy frozen say of my existence every day. Thank you.
Well, safe to say that we don't reject you here at Cobalt, Ike. Glad you're here with us. It is kind of harsh to have your own poem rejecting you. So hugs and thanks for being here with us. Thanks for opening up the reading for us. Round of applause for Ike Waltz. Thank you, Ike. On deck, Christopher T. George. Please welcome Michael G. Hickey. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. I'm just reading one poem tonight. I am part of a group in Seattle called the Willed Body Program. When I die, people from the University of Washington Medical School will pick up my body and I will become well, I'll explain it in the poem. This is called Cadaver Day. By the time hospice finally takes my DNR seriously and pulls the plug, I've already signed off on the Willed Body Program sponsored by the local university's medical school, which accomplishes two things. Number one, it pays all expenses, removing the financial burden from my beloved wife turned widow. And number two, it provides a first-year med student with the opportunity to cut me up minus any blood-curdling screams. Currently, my deceased body is being refrigerated in Anatomy Lab C, along with a dozen of my newest friends, fellow decedents, as a coterie of students and instructors file into the facility wearing royal blue scrubs. Yes, it's finally here, Cadaver Day. My unbridled spirit hovers in the architecture and flows freely amongst the fluorescent lights. The med student assigned to my corpse is Angela from Tupelo, Mississippi. As it turns out, several students, including Angela, didn't sleep too well last night. So I send a tsunami of refractive light in her direction Back on the other side, prior to my demise, I would have called this sending her positive energy. First, Angela has to remove the skin to examine my musculature, but when she does, she sees my face and she is suddenly sad and teary-eyed. Who was I? What did I do for a living when I was still alive? Who did I love? Did I believe in God? And no, Angela, I will not come back to haunt you. I send another river of neuroelectric energy her way that says, girl, if you want to be a surgeon, you're going to have to conquer your fear. Eventually, Angela, once you get the hang of peeling off my skin, which just for the record, I never liked much anyway, you'll realize, okay, this isn't so bad. I can do this. You regain your composure, catch your second wind. The last few days I was alive, I remember wondering about this cadaver day. Would there be gallows humor, cheap jokes about a corpse audience or a captive audience, but instead, it's a sanctuary quieter and more sacred than a king's funeral. 6 hours of the most solemn, tranquil, and serene surroundings, yet everything in Angela's head is still spinning, albeit in super slow motion. You should know, Angela, from Tupelo, Mississippi, that what meant the most from your classmates to my classmates was how you prayed for us before the proceedings, how you prayed for our spirits and our bodies. Please tell your classmates the feeling is mutual. The decedents prayed for you as well. It's been said that coming out of medical school, the top 1/3 of the graduating class makes the best teachers, the middle 1/3 make the best doctors, and the bottom 1/3 makes the most money. Angela, whatever category you end up in, just remember the Hippocratic Oath, only beneficial treatments, do no harm, live an exemplary life, keep doing that, work hard, have fun, be happy, and then let karma take care of the rest. Will you do that for me, Angela? Dr. Angela? And remember, no matter what, I got your back because now I'm your official cadaver dog. Okay. Now for the moment of truth, the dissection. Angela is determined, holds the bone saw tightly in her grip, and makes the first cut. I'm so excited, I can barely restrain my mischievous soul from shouting, "Ow, Angela, you're hurting me!" Thank you.
Yeah, anesthesia, I think, Michael, is important, especially if you're not dead. Just a couple suggestions here. We've talked in the past here in Cobalt Poets about the Sour Toe Club in Dawson City in the Yukon in Canada, where you can purchase a beverage that has an actual human toe in it. And I'm just wondering, because they're always looking for donations of toes, if maybe you might consider like sending, a toe or two off to them.
Is there a 2-toe limit?
I don't think there's a limit on how many toes you can send or drink if you're willing to pay the price.
Duly noted, Ricky. Thank you. I appreciate you very much, Rick. Thanks.
Sure. All right. Thank you, Michael. Round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. Perhaps he'll consider giving one of his legs to Cobalt just so we could hold it up as needed. On deck, Martin Parker, please welcome Christopher T. George. Hi, Christopher.
Hi there, Rick. I have had a long time relationship with Edgar Allan Poe, if you'll excuse the expression. He was born on January the 19th, so that was yesterday. He lived till age 40 and died in mysterious circumstances in Baltimore. I've written about him. Well, I wrote about him in 1974, a Poe tour of Baltimore for Maryland Magazine. And more recently, I wrote a blog about him and appeared in a video with a psychic from Key West. I didn't buy her theory. I think he was very much of a lost man. He'd lost his wife, young wife, 2 years before. So this is a poem I wrote about his relationship with his wife and how it went down. Edgar Allan Poe to his late wife. Virginia, when a song ruptured your throat and toppled you into the long consumptive decline, to that eternity in which I could not touch you, my life broke apart like a storm-racked ship. I drifted like a ghost ship toward rocks, finished up senseless in a Baltimore gutter in a drumming October rain, a derelict in a cheap alpaca coat and a battered hat. A lifetime earlier, I'd found shelter in Baltimore, your cousin Eddie, the cashiered West Point cadet, the aspiring poet, scratching at his impecunious art, while you got to know whom you got to know with a child's eyes, a sister's love. My love for you grew into an impossible flowering. I married you over the protests of relatives. You were only 13, my violet-eyed bride, devoted to me, delicate in looks and demeanor. Your speech the more beautiful because of the lisp you never lost. You were my ideal, Virginia, the star that guided me through my darkest, maddest nights, through the convoluted channels of my genius. But what agony as I saw your starlight fade, as you sank lower, choked with consumption. I saw the folly of hope that final winter. I cradled you in my West Point greatcoat, prayed for the miracle I knew could not happen. The light died in me when you died. We laid your coffin on my writing desk, like the prow of a lost ship or an offering to some terrible god. 18 months later, ill, haunted, hollow, I sailed back to Baltimore for the final time. My body was laid in a plain wood coffin, lowered into the ground where you waited for me. Thank you.
Good one, Christopher. Keying in on your relationship with Poe, but that last line really kind of brings it home, I think, there in terms of poisms, I guess, as it were. Thanks for being here. Good piece.
Sure.
Round of applause. Round of applause for Christopher T. George. We've got two more readers, and then our featured reader, Matthew Feinstein. Bill Gaines, you're on deck. Please welcome now Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. Well, to relieve any tension that may have built up, as you might have been able to guess from the background, my favorite color is blue, at least on most days. So I've got a couple of poems here today on the theme of blue. This first one is one I wrote in college when I saw a lady sitting at a bus stop, which happens to be the same bus stop I later wrote that poem that was featured at the what's the word for the things that you make, Rick? Chasing the elusive sex 43. Little connection to that. But this is called Blue Lady. Blue Lady sits on a cold bench of stone, waiting for her bus all alone. Rain gray air hangs over the world, truly refusing any hope to unfurl. Wearily resigned to accepting her fate, she looks as if her bus were too late, she'd slowly slide into the ground. So for something a little bit different, this is a little happier poem here. I think I've mentioned here before that I really like bagpipes, sort of a connection to my Scottish heritage. My father's mother is a Ross and has some Scottish ancestry through there. And when I was 8 years old, my father took me to Scottish games, and I've been in love with bagpipes ever since. So this is a little poem I had fun with in college, with the messing around with the rhyme scheme and the fact that eventually got it so that each couplet the vowels in the two lines are exactly the same. So this may be a little bit too over the top, but here we go. This is called Bluebells. Oft I do dream of lands of heather, all my true zeal one cannot measure. By moon a shine in clearest weather, I croon the pipes with dear endeavor. Few golden days can give more pleasure. Through Scotland grace shall live forever. And I'll put my usual links in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Martin. Glad to be in the midst of your blue period, as it were. Thank you for your work tonight. Round of applause for Martin Parker. On deck is our featured reader, Matthew Feinstein. Please welcome now Bill Gaines. Hello, Bill.
Hello. I'm picking up a dead bodies theme, so I'm going to jump on that. My first one is called It's a Job. It's somebody's job to take care of the bodies. We trust, we ignore, we give thanks in the wrong way. And when natural decay shines before us, we turn our focus elsewhere in search of mirrors less offensive. But among us, like it or not, are those who deal with corpses, and we owe them more than money. And that is it for that one. I have one more. It's called Still Life with Everything. To allow the truth that in everything is nothing and that in nothing is everything is to ride the forward direction of time, is to bask in the potential of a carrot on a string, is to wallow in the self-pity at the end of a journey, is to bid good riddance to the fading memories of every single moment when in everything was everything and in nothing was nothing. For in perpetual motion we lie. We sit like a stone and yet we fly. And peace. That's it for me. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Bill. Great job. I'm trying to come up with something clever to say about dead bodies, like, oh, actually next week was officially Dead Bodies Night, but I guess we're just jumping the gun on it. But that's fine.
It's embarrassing. We're good. No, I'm not going to make that joke.
I'm not sure what it was, but I can assure you that I probably wouldn't have stopped. And that's just one of my curses. Great to hear your work. As always, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Bill Gaines. Okay, on deck after our featured reader will be Melody Anderson Bromides. So, our featured reader is Matthew Feinstein. Matthew, there's two main reasons why I asked Matthew to read here. One is, and this is probably the biggest and most important one, last week our featured reader was Malcolm Friend, and I felt it really important to have 2 weeks in a row have readers with the same initials. So that's, probably the biggest and most important reason why we have Matthew here tonight. I was going to go for 3, but, and again, I can't think of any clever and funny way to finish that sentence, but there you go. The other reason, and this one's pretty big too, I guess, is, as many of you may know, I run a website called Poetry Superhighway, which has had a poetry contest every year for 27, 28 years. I don't know, a lot of years. And in which 3 different judges read all of the poems that come in and vote on them separately or score them separately. And then 3 winners rise to the top, always a different set of judges. Over 1,000 poems come in. And in this past year's contest, Matthew came in 2nd place, which feels like a really big deal considering how many people enter and how many poems in particular come in. So Matthew, really congrats again. I got to hear you read. I think you read at the contest winners announcement, and you were online when we did that. So that got me excited to hear more poetry from you. Just hearing how you read was really wonderful. So very excited to have a full set of poems from you tonight. Matthew is a poet raised in Tracy, California. He's had poems appear in Heavy Feather Review, Inflectionist Review, and elsewhere. I like to read the names of the places that people are published in because very often they're places that I've never heard of. And there's just so many different amazingly named publications. Heavy Feather Review, of course, that's out there and publishing people like Matthew. So very cool. Matthew has an MFA in poetry from Randolph College. He is the author of the chapbook Breeds of Breath from Alien Buddha Press, which I'll post a link to later. And he has his first full-length book coming out next year. It's called The Nirvana Burning Brings, and it's coming out on Harbor Editions next year. So Matthew, really happy that you're here with us tonight. Please welcome our featured reader, Matthew Feinstein.
Thank you guys for being here. I'm excited to read for you. Thanks, Rick, for inviting me. That first point was very flattering. I'm glad that my initials could lend itself so well to this event. So I'm going to put on a timer and yeah, I'll just start. I'm going to start with actually the poem that I assume is the secondary, as you mentioned, is the secondary reason you invited me. Yeah, all right. Fate makes mistakes. The hostile world caressed my head like a spouse. Still, my hair not charred, nor the world fucked me to bleeding like it had you. So I ask, do tents cry? Do you cry beside an empty sardine can because it's empty? Suffering is wisdom's mother. Are you wise? I thought I saw you wandering Broadway in second. Your smooth hand sprouted in memory. I pulled over. My car reeked silence. You never came. Please call. Say it wasn't you. Say you were someplace warm in clean sheets, cash flow secure as tanks transforming families into statistics. Last night, I dreamt I went shirt shopping. You tapped me on the shoulder, said, I have something to show you. Hand locked in mine, you led me out the mall into the bushes, where sat a tent. It gaped maw, a factory of intimacy. You said, come in. We sat on your grass floor littered with rat hides, your kitchen a milk jug stained with the rain of yesterday. You said, pointing to a collection of abandoned linen, come, come rest, come swirl your sweat-drenched fingers like figure skaters along my rink of a spine. Perpetual starver, professional digger of systems offering nothing, your eyes a puppy's before shelter euthanasia as I left, awoke to my clean suburban bed, my clean suburban house beside my clean suburban wife, her blonde hair tickling my skin like an imposter. And I realize that we're online, so usually what I say is just everybody don't clap till the end, but you guys are all muted anyways, so looks like it worked out. Sexcapades. A woman in my home, a woman in my bed, a woman sheds her clothes like a personality. A woman sings, a giddy cocks a good cock, drips candle wax down my chest. I say nothing. Even as my areola screams, I say nothing. How senseless the moments we say nothing when we've all got mouths. I remove my glasses. We moan in the dark. fuck yes were empty, ear-starved of sweet nothings in a world apathetic to everything. Sometimes they're new to singlehood, haven't practiced the beauty of talking to themselves when all that's living in their vicinity is asleep. Some like their sex toys an instructable thing. Command, I question mark my finger inside them. I navigate the unique braille of each body. Too soft, too hard, go rougher, spank me, beat me with words. Some tell me everything. When I was 9, someone touched me. When I was 10, someone punched me. All I taste is copper, so much copper. I took a pistol out to the woods behind the train tracks, put it in my mouth. It was raining. The barrel tasted like copper, but it was not mine. I bit down on my last lover. He tasted like copper, but not like mine because something is wrong with me. Something is wrong with my blood. Something is wrong with my nose. I would have pulled the trigger, but I was brought home by a strange voice inside me. You are a fawn. I'm usually wet for lions. I need someone to kill the doe inside me, to complicate my being. I now need not be rattled sober, but caressed to epiphany. Something, something must come from all this tragedy. And no matter what brings them, they make a wishing well of me. They pour pennies into my mouth. Quarter dried denim. 18, I leave home for dorm dryers nestled behind Tree Hall in a decrepit laundry den. At its sweet mate's feet, puddles hoisting student quarters like lily pads. No time for another cycle. I suffocate my wardrobe in a trash bag beside my hamper, plucking pieces as needed. My jeans dry as I move class to class. The stench of mildew turns blinding mist. My childhood takes opportunity to return somewhere imaginary. I won't notice its absence for years. Imagined a life with qualia crossed out in all directions. Except yours, so you spent every birthday alone. Your mother also never met your father. Your friend who died of cancer after graduation, dead your entire friendship. His laments, never finding love, going to college, among adulthood's various etceteras. Secrets exchanged in your lover's bed, your dog, the grass, your hometown. You're getting groceries when the acting snaps. The cashier deanimates, cracks her head on the register. You flee, roam the highway clogged with bodies and flaming cars to your hometown of 20,000. Every building holds a rotting human you thought knew you. A woman wanders, distraught like you, down Broadway in Second. You belt, hey, belly loud. Her eyes slap you euphoric. God speaks, not from above, someplace void of trees, declares you Adam and Eve 2.0. You both strip naked, forget who you loved yesterday. Death of a friendship. We made our home in sitcoms and inside jokes before life left us to dry heave in the bowels of adulthood. Gone the days I'd drive you with flames in your head, press a wet rag to your pineal gland, ask, are you burning? Do you need me to stay? And you'd say yes. Again, I'd ask. Again, yes. We'd do this verbal dance for hours until your room, no longer your room, but some bunker in hell where even Lucifer could not find us. Gone the days I'd saw off my limbs before letting you sleep blanketless at the bus stop with no street lamp for miles, no people for miles except for decayed men praying to a false god like religion is a magic trick. And the strangle, God's glorious strangle of your neck because it knew you needed something to touch you. The September we stopped talking, I befriended my upstairs neighbor, a traumatized girl from Russia's rough maw. After screaming with her boyfriend, she'd sit on my patio, tell me how dogs eat teens in Moscow because it's negative degrees and they're starving and they're animals like us. And when she marveled at the feral cats roaming the streets of Long Beach, how at night you can hear the yowls and the fighting and the death, I saw in her every broken thing I could not fix. I saw you. Dream post hookup. Her dirty blonde mane pressed to my chest. The little death, the reversion to nonchalance, the thank you, the Uber. I'm alone again. I watch a TikTok stranger strum her blue light guitar. I'm longing again, trapped in a fate-licked envelope, shipped to a film tinged with limerence called The Women in My Poems. I'm the protagonist, beautified by cinematography, a close-up of rain in an abandoned couch crook, her tide-stained dress, near patriotic in that blue swirl off-white, a bang of morning light. Winter dies. It's peak Phoenix summer. Cookies bake on the concrete. We flee, roll around in countryside dirt. I paint her forehead with mud so that if I tilt my head one way, it's a mediocre star. Tilt it another, it's a crude cross I pray to. We head to bed. She says, start a shop in my womb. Her skin tone dampened by lingerie as if her thigh a pill best dosed split. As if a seismic revelation lives in all that marrow. Thunder makes love to San Joaquin eardrums. Tongue-tied ballooning of childlike banter until we shattered into each other like ceramic. Pretty plastic fences, artificial lawns of lovers' hair, every sprouted blade laughs alone and in unison. My teeth a gift to wriggle into your gums like a good dress. You ate lemons like apples at fourth grade's edge the day you said, come over. I have toys. You'll love them. Come over. No toys. A single blanket with polka dots. Everything you owned smelled of smoking habits. Our lonely camaraderie thereafter. How cosmic we were, because your scratch-starved thighs, because I slept beside you like a bedside pistol, because with both hands I held you. All right, I think I'm going to do one more. The Noose of Apocalypse. The Noose of Apocalypse is here. You admit it's softer a strangle than expected. It arrived like a hearse disguised as monotony, inching off a cliff dirtied by mechanical rubble, shattered iPhone screens, trash slimed Teslas. You rummage the dumpster until your fingers flay off. You swear the thump thump in your chest, your heart. But you've basked here before in the delusional starlight. You double turn in hopes of yesterday's loves, those in coffins with darkened under eyes. Beside those, you spilled secrets as you rubbed the smooth globe of their head. Those you lived lifetimes without. The wrinkles along their forehead as massive as the rot. The reunion, the end. Oh God, the false birth and the infinite end. When you grin, the facade doesn't stop. The facade crafted with everything's fine. What is fine in this cockroach world? Here's an opening. Walk through it. And if you can't walk, limp like a reluctant spouse on their wedding day. And if you can't limp, crawl. Traverse Earth's soil like the parasite you've become. God, that is a really bleak way to end this reading, but thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
That was great, Matthew. Yeah, that was startling, but poetry-filled line to end this reading on. A lot of great lines, really well-crafted, well-written poems. So many lines, I stopped writing them down because it was just too much. I mean, not too much, but too much to then have to report back on what I dug. But marveled at the feral cats wandering at the streets of Long Beach. Almost not fair. You could just say the word cats and I'm in. So, but I dug that. Wriggle into your drums like a good dress into your tongue. Was it? Maybe I wrote that down wrong. Like a good dress.
Gums, like your teeth to wriggle into.
Gums, right. There you go. I knew that
Sorry,
was
I know. I try to read a little slower, but sometimes it can be a little dense or
no, I forget like what I said 2.5 seconds ago, so it's not you.
me too. That's why I like improv.
Yeah, there you go. To hell with scripts. I that was great and reminded me a lot of hearing you read that one poem in October, the winning Poetry Superhighway poem, which of course you read again. Great work. Really dug it. I'm gonna paste some stuff into the chat, and then also share the screen to show the broadside I made for the poem that you sent. So there it is. People can download this now. It's an 11 by 17 print, available at the Cobalt Poets website. You can print it out, look at it on your screen, whatever you'd like to do with it, and hope that you'll consider tipping Matthew for his reading and for this poem on this broadside. You can do that by Venmo. There's a Venmo ID pasted into the chat. That's the same thing as if you're at an in-person reading where you might not clap because the featured reader said, please don't clap until the end. You guys all remember what that's like at in-person readings. You might then put money in a hat that gets passed around that goes to the featured reader. So the Matthew's Venmo ID is the hat tonight. So please consider doing that. And there's also a link in the chat to Matthew's chapbook from Alien Buddha Press, Breeds of Breath. So you can pick that up if you would like, and check out his website link as well, and look forward to his book, The Nirvana Burning Brings, coming out next year on Harbor Editions. So there you go, Matthew. Thank you again. Really great reading, and so glad to be able to hear a full set from you and co-mingle Poetry Superhighway and Cobalt stuff. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Thanks, Rick, for inviting me, and I'm excited to hear the rest of you guys read. So,
Where are you in California still?
I'm in Phoenix now, Arizona. Yeah,
It's California adjacent, I
it
guess.
is definitely.
There you go. A few hours you could be back if needed. Okay. There you go. Round of applause for featured reader Matthew Feinstein. Thank you so much, Matthew. Great job. I will mention next week our featured reader will be Melvin Funicular. That's not true. I tried to get Melvin to keep the thing going, but I couldn't get in touch with him, and I'm pretty sure I just made him up, and that made it even more difficult to do so. So, with that in mind, we do have next week Aaron Mizrahi, who's a poet who I think whose poem I saw on the Poem a Day email that goes out. So we're going to hear from Aaron next week in addition to the open reading. That leads us tonight to the where am I going with this? To the rest of tonight's open reading, which will be very much an open reading. Here's who I have on the list in this order: Melody, Christopher Bogart, Valerie Sofair, D'Ellen, Jeffrey Bryant, Heather Romero Kornblum, Ken Scott, Jennifer Elise Wang, Marietta Maglis, Ellen Webb, and me. If anyone else would like to be added, please feel free to let me know in the chat, and I'm happy to add you. Just as a friendly reminder, 2 poems maximum, and the suggested time limit is less is more. On deck, Christopher Bogart. Please welcome now Melody Anderson Bermudez. Hello, Melody. Are you there, Melody? I'm not sure if Melody is there or if you're not unmuting, but I guess we'll come back to you, Melody. And so we'll say Valerie Sofair is on deck. And please welcome now Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, Rick. I'm going to share the screen if you don't mind. And yeah, they're going to be political. As far as I can see, there's no way out, but hopefully you'll laugh tonight anyway. I'm working with an illustrator to do a book kind of based on Dr. Seuss, but Donald here's a you, and he's illustrating it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 2 poems and I'm going to read from here. And here it is. This is called Don Con. You see, Don the con man had just ridden down his Golden Grift escalator in Don the Con town, hired richly paid sycophants to crown him a king, though the citizens of U had no use for such things. But Drumpf didn't stop there. Oh no, not a chance. The Drum King kept dancing his maniacal dance. He'd appointed a cabinet that defied sane description, all die-hard maggot nut jobs, pushing maggot positions. Pistol Pete Headless changed his department from defense to war, bombing small boats in the Caribbean, killing people by the score. Puppy enthusiast Krusty Gnome rounded brown folk up into cells, then frog-walked them onto aeroplanes to be sent to Seacot hell. Glinda McCon wrestled with teaching, but never ever taught. She mixed politics with WWE, proving any Drumpf job can be bought. Bottle Blondie called Democrats commies to get Injustice's front door. She never forgot what Drumpf told her to do, so she had to forget the law. Bobby DeKay finally got his own way by supporting the Orange Tan Man. He traded 14 years of his own needle use to promote vaccine bans. Then there's little Steve Wieg German, who hangs round with all other vermin, flies down from the eaves to give Trump advice, pushing family separation and mass deportation and reporting all who don't agree with him to ICE. Rash Intel, straight from hell, wrote a book, Plot Against the King. But when the king finally won, and there was work to be done, Rash crashed out, didn't do a damn thing. Little Marco Polio handed Drumpf's portfolio, dumping piles of crap into Ukraine, having discussions with all kinds of Russians, all done for Daddy Vladdy's gain. And finally, let's not forget Elon Lust, who broke everything that he touched. Although he wasn't in the cabinet, his Trump support was no less extravagant. But his sexual mores, not so much. That's the first one. And the second one is called, let me just wind down to it. That's, by the way, is an ICE agent. Hold on, it's not the rename game. It's all right. Is this it? Yeah. Artsy fartsy. But before we could find out what we could rhyme with Chuck and use it to describe our present state of bad luck, let's look into King Trump's latest usurpation to show the dilemma the arts are in this situation. And what situation is that, you might wonder? Well, one where the rename was the least of Trump's blunders. No, the Trump went all hog, appointing a whole new arts board and named himself chairman of the whole dumbass horde. Gone the Broadway musicals like Hamilton and Les Mis. Oh no, Trump maggots had tapped into a different side of showbiz. A far-right pantheon of performers, most just subpar, some wrinkled superheroes and some has-been rock stars. Where once audiences were enchanted with the Nutcracker Suite, Trump and his sycophants dredged up a brand new set of treats. And these are the treats. A dramatic reading of Mein Kampf by Kanye West, and a canceled Ted Nugent concert of his Billboard's Top Best. A musical version of The Scarlet Letter, aptly titled Mother of Pearl, with the part of the Reverend Dimsdale sung by Milton Berle. Richard Nixon's secretary, Rosemary Woods, using her wiles to erase, at 80 words per minute, Trump's name in the Epstein files. Up with Fascists, a QAnon chorale. Krusty Gnome slideshow, touring CCOT. John Voight is Macbeth. Lecture, Audience Etiquette by Lauren Gropberg. Fresh from their work on Home Depot LA parking lot raids, the brand new and improved and black-masked ice capades. And for maggot music lovers who'd like their songs brash, not trans, there were the arias of Mozart, as sung by Roseanne. And finally, for fans who liked entertainment most musical, there was the maggot fan favorite, Charles in Charge, the musical. So now the citizens of you are left to ponder a new thing. Did he believe he was King Don, or did he believe he was Don King? Thank you.
A lot of clever, fun commentary and stuff that you brought to us. Good luck with that project, and very funny list of upcoming events as well. I have to say, Milton Berle's a hell of a get these days, though. So there you go. Christopher, thank you so much for that and your ongoing work. Round of applause for Christopher Bogart. Okay, on deck is Melody. We're going to go back to Melody. Please welcome now Valerie Sofair. Hello, Valerie.
Hi, nice to be here. Sorry I can't come more often. I was in Scotland last summer, so I've written poems about that experience. I believe this place is pronounced Nairn, spelled Nairn. It's northern Scotland, near Inverness and Culloden. If you watch Outlander or read the books or history buff, it's the big battle that ended the Jacobite uprising and doomed the Highlanders. That's not what the poem's about, but that's where this place is. Nairn, you bring everything that made you to this place that you've never been before and will never be again, to a bench by a field, by a sea, bordered by gentle hills and beaches strewn with weathered granite, swathed in soft strands of a northern landscape. Air unimpaired singes your lungs, dissolves scars. The past is very past, and it's just you on a bench, undisturbed by seagull squabble, brain wrapped in jet black gauze, unfastened, open to a land that holds on to thin light, then lets go for a few charcoal hours. This is what you came for. This is what you hope for, to be still as the antlered red deer grazing in the distance, alert to what each moment brings. Thank you.
Valerie, thank you. Glad you're here, and you're always welcome.
Thanks.
Period. Big fan of Outlander and its spin-off series as well, and that got me very excited. In particular, Outlander about Scotland and visiting there and seeing those sites and walking in the same place as where those events happen. So thanks for bringing that up today, even though the poem wasn't specifically about that, but good to hear that and meet a fellow time traveler, as it were. Thanks for being here, Valerie.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Valerie Sofair. On deck is D. Ellen. We're going back to Melody. Hello, Melody.
Hi there. I nodded off there for a minute. I have two poems. First one is called A Confession. My love for poetry has been flitting. I dream I'm a novelist, a fat book on my name. Love or not, poetry is in me. I dream other realities, a fat book. The poems still flow out. Can I let it go today or tomorrow? Will the life of a poet free me? Maybe. But my soul will not let go of a fat book. And my second one is called, that one about poetry. Why I like poetry. I love to read poetry. First of all, and when I read poetry, I get different ideas of how to write poetry. None of it is scholarly, mind you. I took a class in poetry in college, but that was about it. I come up with an idea and the words flow out. At the end, I read the poem aloud and laugh. Then I know the poem is done. My last poem ended with, "The world is our banana," which still makes me laugh. Thank you.
The world is our banana, Melody. Thank you for bringing that. Thank you for reminding us of that really important idea. And thanks for being here. I'm glad we got the sound worked out so we could hear you. Round of applause for Melody Anderson Bermides. On deck, Jeffrey Bryant. Please welcome D. Ellen. Hi, D. Ellen.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. This is a poem I wrote a while ago, and when I was remembering my childhood. And it came from a very inspiring bottle of Chardonnay by the same title, which is called Rake Dance. And I never could find that wine again, but this is the one poem born of it. Rake Dance for my father. As a child, my father would drag me garden to garden, explaining in that strange language, somewhere between Latin and Passion, the nature of plants. At the time, I kicked the dirt, bored and frustrated, tired of his constant drill between proper name and common name. Our own backyard was always an experiment in failed perfection, where dichondra lawns stole every child's dream of adventure and bonsai trees stunted our growth. From the age of 5, I realized he loved botany more than he loved us. Still, when he arrived home at cocktail hour, my mother would play Sinatra or Nat King Cole, and he would dance us on size 14 feet while they drank martinis. My sister and I looked at him as a gentle giant, a man bigger than life, a god. Likely, even then, he knew secrets lost to others, that all good things spring from fertile soil, that life recycles itself like compost, and that gardening is a quiet art, not meant for the noise, speed, or aggravation of weed cutters, chainsaws, and blowers, but the careful selection of just the right rake so that one might gather leaves without disturbing a blade of grass. Thank you.
Thank you, Deellen. Interesting line to end on when you're surrounded by undisturbed blades of grass in your background. Brings it to a whole other level. Thanks so much for being here. Great poem. Round of applause for Deellen. On deck, Heather Romero Kornblum. Please welcome Jeffrey Bryant. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hi, wonderful teacher, Matthew. I really enjoyed your work a lot. Thank you. I have two poems. Vowel poem number 1. 3 a.m. is falling outside in wet sonatas, and my breast is silent and soft again, like our first Pride Day in the park, 1981, 100,000 shirtless soldiers way too young to disappear. Your legs are making all the difference in keeping me here in the slow crawl of darkness. Fall asleep if you need to, and dictate your nightmares to me, dipping my quill, drawing its feather across your lips softly, like poets do to tease out the vowels. Light might grace us, who knows? Waking up is never up to us. If we do awaken, then look into my eyes and open me like I'm the only window you have ever known. Vowel poem number 2. When will the angel's laughter stop ringing in my ears? The sky is just too heavy and you're in it, moleculing, and I feel you as a storm front whipping across my skin. I'm still haunted by the vowels you sculpted in every orgasm. We stood before Rothko after Rothko, frozen in their fields, your tear welling in my eye, and we hid in the men's room until abstract expressionism tiptoed past, and it was safe to leave, and you left wearing your hospice glare. So full of your story, your music, your lips soft with prayer, a denouement in the space where colors go to die. Surviving you is cruelty floating atop cold coffee. Thank you.
Cold coffee, meaning like not intentional, like cold brew, but like it's been out too long, is what you're saying. Yeah. Uh, that's a disaster. Jeffrey, thank you so much. The vowels you sculpted in every orgasm and all the other words you strung together. Solid, powerful, really well done as always. Round of applause for Jeffrey Bryant. Thank you, Jeffrey. Ken Scott, you're on deck. Please welcome now Heather Romero Kornblum. Hi, Heather.
Hey, how you doing? I'm so glad to be here tonight. And Matthew, I'm very inspired by your wordsmithing. Um, I'm gonna read one poem because it's a slightly longer piece. Um, yeah, She Became Birds. A woman stands between gratitude and grief. Was this ever really mine? She wonders. About the sun, husband, full faculty of her mind, body, soul. The sun, gratitude, still alive. It is the woman who is transmutated, stopped existing in the same plane. Portals are needed. The husband, where was he when she was drifting off the ground? When she became fire and wind instead of familiar earth? Her earthiness was held against her because mortals sometimes go adrift in the wind. I wanted to be beautiful again, the woman said. Any fairyland that would have me, I will fly across space and time to get there. Between that grief and gratitude, the mind wandered, shook. Don't reveal it, she thought, as the sneers rained down. Once, almost a year ago, she was out of her body of the earth, her spirit of the stars, the night sky. Is this the last breeze I will feel, she thought, as she and her body were wheeled in a bed through the hospital corridor. Where do I go from here, she thought, sitting up, gripping, the body tucked beside her, attached to its 15 or 17-hour epinephrine drip. She refused to close her eyes, to rest, as it was suggested in the ICU. No, she thought, better keep watch on the body. Almost a year later, in her delirium of organs in turn, uncertain of their roles, she pants, heaves, as earthiness returns and is abandoned, as that jagged grief and gratitude shift into circles of scatterings. The husband, the son, the others who watched her lose herself. It is hard for the soul of a woman to exist without a body, the woman thought. I did not lose myself. I don't have an appropriate vessel. Living ghost, hunger for touch, food, essence. I will cast myself out into the desert, she thought, an appropriate punishment for her disappointments, her abandonments. Between that gratitude and grief, she became birds, small desert animals, an occasional cactus. My human form failed me too many times. This way, I can wear feathers, scales, thorns, fur. I am not abandoned if I am something else. I could not be a wife to a human man, a mother to a human child if I am a bird. I will crawl through the desert using scales and fur. It will be okay if I cannot control my temperature. Between that gratitude and grief, the grief lingered, took human heart-sized bites. As a bird or desert animal, there will be less to feed the grief, only small animal heart-sized bites. If I'm a bird, she thought, the husband and son will not recognize me in my shapeshift. I can be forgiven, because how do you judge a woman who has turned into a bird? As she became birds, she sang, danced, met other birds and small desert animals. I'm alive, she said. I'm alive. So thank you so much. That's She Became Birds.
Sweet. Heather, thank you so much. Nice poem. Thank you so much for bringing it to us. Round of applause for Heather Romero Kornblum. May we all become birds someday. On deck, Jennifer Elise Wang. Please welcome Ken Scott. Hello, Ken.
Hello, good evening. It's great to be back. The reason I've missed so many other evenings is because my fitness trainer had me that same evening, but recently he switched to Monday, so I was able to escape the sweat club, and now I'm here. Either way, got two pieces this evening. The first one that I'm going to start with, if I may share screen, is a bit of a gripe piece. This is called Black Erotica Despised. White you does erotic poetry and everyone praises it while pretending to fan themselves. Black me does erotic poetry and everyone condemns it as pornography and tries to cancel me outright or tries to gain my trust by offering to help me write better poetry in that genre, only to attack me ad hominem for the time I recited such erotic poetry while unaware that their dear friend was dying of breast cancer. I had to realize that this is America, and I am a black man. As such, any of my ardent expressions involving the sweetness of curves, the sensuous beauty of skin, the ravishingly voluptuous form, and the warm invitation of moist delights will be scorned as animalistic fornication because of the black hand writing it. Even when I had an erotic poem appropriately published in an anthology named The Issue is Sex, a white woman actually tried to cancel my poetic career over it. Never mind the poetess who published a piece about the night she was raped in the same anthology. If you are black, then America sees you as a wanton beast who is only capable of carnal lust. That's that one. The second piece that I'm going to do, this is more along the lines of spirituality. This is a much more ethereal piece, and this one is entitled Stand. The all is mind. The universe is mental. Everything at the quantum level is thought. All thoughts are held together by laws, both natural and supernatural. Any supernatural law supersedes all natural laws. In the supernatural, the masters prevail. Mastering one's own mind is the key to victory. For the mind of the all holds the matrix of reality, and the infinitesimal infinite is the source of all being, where nothingness and everything are one in thought. The briefest moment is eternity and now, and silence is all sounds in one. Be the singularity, where the darkness of space and the brightest light are one. You are the meditation that changes worlds and walks between wheels. You are the stillness of everywhere, the completion, the wholeness. Stand. The all is mind. The universe is mental. Stand. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Ken, it's nice to see you again. As far as we're concerned, carnal lust is only a small part of what you bring to the table. So there you go.
I tries to please everyone.
Sure, you have something for everyone. That's the way to think about it. Glad you got to switch it out so you could be with us, and that you're still participating in the sweat factory or whatever it is that you called it. And
To
we
keep
look
my
forward to
body in shape.
seeing both less of you and more of you simultaneously as time goes on. Round of applause for Ken Scott. Thank you, Ken. On deck, Marietta Moglis, please welcome Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, so I've got two. First was inspired by Martin's blue theme. I have a blue poem. It is actually based off an anime character who was so obsessed with water, and that I was like, wonder what it's like to get in his head. So this poem came out of it. Blue. You are not the apple of my eye, but the unfathomable mirror of my irises, sparkling as the light glances off the surface. Your gentle surface, which feels cold at first touch, opens up to an embrace I imagine myself being wrapped in like a blanket. I want to be engulfed by your stillness, the liquid strength that calms my agitation, even though I cannot breathe. The wave of emotions that hits me with every reunion always overwhelms my entire being. But when I give in completely, you gently push me, a stumbling creature, in the right direction. And my second piece, something totally different, just I think, like many poets, was deeply affected by the murder of Renee Nicole Good and the fact that she was a poet. So I wrote this in her memory called Remember Good. You called yourself a poet first, and I'm thinking of all your unwritten words. I'll try to step up and help fill the void so there are more verses instead of guns, and maybe one more person can fill their heart with something besides hate. Some have asked why queer and poet are mentioned with your name alongside mother and wife, and I want them to look up from their screens to see rainbow sidewalks painted over and read phrases on a page so revolutionary they made martyrs of writers. You've become a martyr too for watching and listening, the prelude to composition, because a man whose heart consisted of ice and violence decided that good should die. So now it's our mission to carry on and compose and do good.
Preach. Thank you, Jennifer. What you bring to us is always thoughtful and widely varied in terms of what the content and style and what inspires it. So, but it's always cool and always thoughtful. So thank you so much. Round of applause for Jennifer Lee Swang. Thank you.
Thank you.
On deck is Ellen Webb. Please welcome now Marietta Maglas. Hello, Marietta.
Hello. Can I share? I have a poem published in Four Feathers Press. Glistening hospital. The bright moon descends, an iridescent stain on the canvas of the darkness, looking like a vast emptiness. All elusive, peaceful dreams become nightmares. The silence grows, extending the lasting sense of sadness. Life and death intertwine. Endeavors cloaked in endearing, ghostly, white, along the walls and beds, decorated with hues of longing. Light whirls among the celestial bodies. When the stars release their bursts of energy, crossing dimensions from one end to the other. Patients move like wraiths, with delicate steps, their faces, wrapped in yellow, betray their need for hope. Fear hides in the fever, swirling in unnoticed nooks. During afternoons, it transforms into a rabbit, leaping into the depths of the soul, where joy cries out in anguish. Nausiness spirals through existence. In hushed lunges, hope fades. Faint echoes of little illness linger like leftover food. A path goes on through this mood of life. The true strife is internal. Mars awaits at the infernal edge of the green. Doctors wear their worries like garments through the narrow hallways. Their words bring hope and gentle gestures, aiming to soothe those who struggle to breathe. Beneath the moon, new dreams fade and new whispers of death disappear into the gloom. Illness is a haunting tune, a contradiction wrapped in silence and sound. Each note stirs compassion, mourning for lives trapped by destiny's unyielding grasp. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Marietta. Thank you for being here and sharing that piece with us. Round of applause for Marietta Moglis.
Thank you.
On deck is me to close out the open reading. Please welcome now Ellen Webb. Hello, Ellen.
Hi, I'm Ellen Weber. Good to be here. My first poem is What Renunciation Taught Me About Your Body. Bird-boned, hollow-cheeked, you are a dancer on knife point. I have driven you to violence. Every morning I rethread my vocal cords, stitch up my lacerations with a green ribbon. Every night you pass a thorned rope through my throat, so I cannot speak. Feed, so that I become a fasting girl, a wretched visionary amidst these acres of spoiled honey. I called you sister once, shared rapture and ruin, bled and played among the horse fields, but now you pull blistered prophecy from my lips, invite me to doubt my heart's arrival, my pursuit of virtue, with all the persistence of sorrow. No lamentation, no confession makes my weeping more holy than your scorn. I deserve it. I have stolen your bees and devoured their marigolds. I am a rampaging colossus in your eyes, which is to say I make wreckage in the landscape of your faith and still howl for its gold. Forgive me. Deny me. Strangle me with your long black hair and be relieved. You have my treacherous tongue. You have my martyred voice. Find peace in the strength of your clean hands, the cold machinery you became to renounce the sinner I've become. And my second poem is This Depression? It all happens after the descent of dreams, the life that escapes me, a new incarnation of the shallow breath and dirt lung. Each waking is resurrection. I, slowed lava, creep through the sheets to pool, smoking in the earth like some igneous thing. I worry at my ashing skin, peeling flakes in whirls as I await a new preoccupation, a hunger that does not come twisting through my stomach, my throat. I cannot explain this vacancy, the naked spaces behind my eyes, the nowhere of it all. Make me a monster again, swelling with secrets and the will to scream. I can hardly recognize the battlefield where I was brave. I slink into the depths of this ancient problem. I was young once. It is a different time now. Thank you.
Wow, Ellen, first of all, sorry for mispronouncing your last name. As I mentioned to Matthew, that will only happen a half a dozen or so more times. And please keep coming back to give me the opportunity to do that. We've got Ellen scheduled as one of our featured readers in February, and having just heard you read those couple of poems, I'm awfully excited about that. That's going to be really cool. And I hope by then you will have returned our bees. So there you go. Round of applause for Ellen Weber. Thank you so much, Ellen, for being here. I'm going to close out the reading with two poems. This is a brand new one I wrote maybe yesterday. It's called The No Cars Newhall Hoedown. And then there was the time I opened the garage door to get in the car and go to the dentist because 6 months had gone by and my teeth weren't going to clean themselves, and I saw there was no car in the garage because my wife had taken her car to work and my son had arrived at an age where he could now take my car to school. because this is how it was now, me in the garage confronting a complete lack of cars, and thanks to the technology of our day, I pressed buttons and someone else's car arrived in just a few minutes, and I got in the back seat, and a stranger brought me to the dentist, and the dentist, who never said a word to me on that day or any other day, ran out of time to clean my teeth, and I stormed out and pressed no buttons and walked the half-hour home with my dirty teeth and my no cars, and I got all my steps in that walk, so the day wasn't a total loss. Okay, my son has his driver's license now. It's an issue. This next poem is one that I wrote for this coming week's Torah Potion. If only. Torah portion. If you were here last week, I read kind of the prequel to this. If you're familiar with the story of the 10 plagues, you might have seen it in the movie The 10 Commandments, or that animated version, I forget the name of, in which plagues come down on Egypt to try to convince Pharaoh to let the people go. Last week's Torah portion went up to the first 7 plagues. This one deals with the final 3. The poem is called I Went. And I went like locusts devouring the crops, like grasshoppers with bad reputations. I remember the sound when the crickets escaped the lizard habitat. It's not that all the food was gone, it was the noise. You can't watch your television programs under those circumstances. And I went like darkness. Have you been to one of those blackout restaurants where they guide you through the meal in the pitchest of blacks? It was like that, without the help. And I went like your firstborn, not away to camp, not away to college, not driving on his own for the first time, but for good, gone, with only your memories to lift you up if you ever get past the sadness. This is what it took for us to go, this and the 7 things I mentioned last week. I hear they're digging up proof that it actually happened. This changes everything. Okay, folks, there you go. A couple poems from me. Thank you very much for being here today. A really great night. I especially want to thank our featured reader, Matthew Feinstein. I'm pasting stuff in the chat. Again, you can tip Matthew for his reading via the Venmo ID that's there. You can download the broadside for Matthew's poem at the Cobalt Poets website. That's the next link in the chat. When you're there, not only can you see all the broadsides ever published, but you can click on calendar to see who's coming up next week. As I mentioned earlier, Aaron Mizrahi will be our reader, in addition to our open reading, of course. Also on the website, if you're not getting our emails every week and you want to be kept up to date with who's reading and have a convenient Zoom link emailed to you, you can click on email list and add your email there. Continuing on in the chat, there's another link to Matthew's chapbook, Breeds of Breath from Alien Buddha Press, you can check out, and a link to Matthew's website as well. A fantastic night, really happy with what happened here tonight. Thanks everyone for being here and participating in the open, and thanks again to Matthew for a really stellar feature. I clicked on the Ask All to Unmute button in case y'all want to say hi to each other before we take off.
Hi to each other before we take off.
The words right out of
Yeah, he's gonna say the same thing.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Great
guys.
reading with you.
Good night.
Oh,
Bye.
it's fun.
Have a good night.
It was a great
Thanks, everyone.
Featured reading too, Matthew.
Great
Excellent.